Welcome to Digital Computer Camp. Today I'm actually showing you how I get to actually design this flyer of a church. It is called New Life Community Church, and this is actually my ongoing series whereby I'm showing you how I get to design. My ongoing series is called How to Design. I show you how to design in Photoshop, Illustrator, and actually Canva. Now, if you haven't checked out my previous videos, you can actually check it out. I have pinned a link on the description. Resources used in this actually making this video are also on the description, and actually let's get into it. First thing, if you want to design something in Photoshop, you open the software, and you will open the software under the home tab or home menu. This is actually a home menu of the software. Now I want to create a flyer for a church. Now I will come here under home. I will click create new. Now I want to create a flyer, and a flyer, the measurement for a flyer, it is actually A4. That is actually the standard measurement of a flyer. Now I'll come here to print under new document, and then I'll say A4. This one is A4, and the measurement it will actually display here on the right. And actually I will use orientation of actually portrait, and I will actually use resolution of 300 pixels per inch, and I will actually use color mode. I will actually use RGB, but I'll change it to CMYK while we want to print. And background color, let the background color of the page to be white, and actually I will click create. Now after you have created your document, now it's time for you to actually import the files you want to actually design with. So what I will do, I will actually bring the background of this design. I'll come here to file, all right. To bring in the background or any import, you come to place embedded. Place embedded, and then we have place linked. Place linked, this one you take resources from a stock resource center online, and this embedded, you take resources from your computer. Now you click place embedded like that, and then I will actually hover where my resources are on the desktop, and then how to design dot icons. It's actually a charge flyer, and I will bring in the background. I will bring in the background of across, like that is the background we will actually use. It is across. Since you are designing for a church, you need to have something like that, that is actually across, all right. And then I'll actually click the check mark or hit enter in your keyboard to actually check the placement of your image. All right, now I will bring another image in order for us to actually blend with this background. I'll go to actually file, all right, and then actually place embedded, and then I will bring an image of people actually worshiping or actually with the hands. This is the image I'm talking about, and then I will actually enlarge it to capture the entire canvas. I will enlarge it like that, and I will hit enter or check mark. That's the way. That is the way, and then we can move the canvas. That's the way. And now I will come to layers panel, and I will actually input a blending mode. I will check the blending mode that is actually good. I'll go with darken, no. I'll go with multiply, then color band, then linear band. All these are blending modes, but you take the one that fits you. I'll actually go with which one. No, you check just the one that fits you. Alright, I'll go with darken. I'll go with this one, darken, and I will actually go to filter, right, and then blur, and then go to Gaussian blur. I want to adjust a little bit of blurriness. I will actually input it to be 20 or 20. I want to increase the blurriness to 20. About 20. Let me put it at 10. 15. Let me put at 15. This thing, the graphic designing is all about creativity. You're not supposed to be perfect. No, it is all about creativity. Creativity, that's the one, right? Now, what I will do, I will actually bring in the text. Now, I will bring in the text to this canvas of ours. I will go to my text, that the content I need to actually include in actually the designing, and I will bring in the name of the church first. and copy the name of the chart, Control C to copy it, and then I'll come to Adobe to Photoshop, and then I'll pick the text tool, or you can hit T in your keyboard. I'll hit T in my keyboard to activate the text tool. Then I'll come here on the canvas and then just click to actually paste some pre-made text, and then I will Control V to actually paste the text that I have copied, and then pick the move tool, then enlarge the size a little bit. I want it to be big, and then Control plus plus for you as my viewer to see it. Control plus, I want it to be here, then I will bring it here, somewhere here. This is the name of the church. It is actually a New Life Community, and then I will double click inside to go into the text tool, and then I'll change the font type, font family. From Playfair Display, I'll go to Lato Regular. I'll use the font called Lato Regular. Lato Regular, not bold. Or Lato Bold, let me use bold. Like that. And then I'll change the color to be white. I want white color. You come here, under this one, and then you can change the color. Or you can go to your swatches to have a white color. This is the white color I want to use. You can close this one, and then pick this color, white, and then like that. That's the way you get to actually make that name of the church. Now, what I will do, I will bring in the rulers, the guides or wireframe, you can call it like that. Now I'll bring in something called wireframe. I'll go into my ruler and then just click and drag. I want something like this, like 2 inches, something like that. I want my content to be on the middle. Let me bring another one, wireframe. I have what called wireframe. I want it to be 2. I want it to be 2. Content to fit in the middle. Something like that, like that. Designing is all about being creative, know how to layout, manage layout, how to arrange a design element in a page. That's actually designing. And then I will bring another one on the bottom, on the bottom, something like that. Now my content will go on the middle here. No any content should go outside the middle. Now I'll actually zoom in a little bit, and then I'll bring in the image of the pastor. Now I'll go to file and then place embedded like this. Then I will bring in the image of the pastor and place him like that. And then I will zoom out, Control minus. Then I will actually reduce him a little bit, till there, something like that. Then what I will do, since it's an image, it can just enlarge it, and no issue. Then Control plus plus. Then I will go to layers here under my tabs, and then I will actually use a blending mode that fits me. I will hover around them. For example, darken. You check after placing the image. You check here first. I mean, check it. You check the image here, or hit enter like that. Now after checking, now you can change the blending mode. You come here to blending mode. For example, have darken, you have multiply, you have color band, you have linear band, you have darker band. All these are blending mode, light, everything. But you pick the one that fits you. All these are blending modes. Blending modes enable layers to actually interact with each other beneath it. I would go with multiply. What's happening? I'll go to with multiply, like this, and then I'll go ahead into the background. This like across. I will actually reduce the opacity of this one. I'll reduce the opacity of cross a little bit. In order for it, I'll reduce the opacity to like 70 or 50. Let me reduce the opacity to 75, somewhere like that. 75, the opacity of that cross. And then what I will do, I will actually also reduce the fill. I will actually reduce the fill to actually also 75, something like that. And then I will actually go back and actually reduce the opacity of this image. Let the image be like that. Let's go to blending mode. How about color band? How about linear band darker? I will actually use this one, this blending mode, darken. That's the blending mode I will go with. And then what I will do, Then I will create a layer mask. I will create a layer mask like that, and then I will pick the brush tool. Brush tool. This is actually the brush tool. It is here. Or you can press B in your keyboard to actually pick the brush tool. I'll pick the brush tool like this, and then after picking the brush tool, I can enlarge the size here of the brush, the size that it is meant to be hardness to 0, and then I will come here and actually erase this one with the brush tool. This is the purpose of a brush. I will actually erase these parts of this image. This is actually Photoshop. It's very, very powerful software. To move across the canvas, you hold the space bar and then you move across. Let me zoom in a little bit, and then you can actually get to erase these ones with the brush on the clipping mask. Let me erase this. Control Z. Since you have erased badly, you need to know how to undo like that. I'll just erase these people here. Creativity. It's all about creativity. Like that. That is actually the way of doing these things. That is actually the purpose of a layer mask. Layer mask enables you to actually brush the bad parts of a picture. For example, this one also I need to actually brush out. I'll use the brush tool. It's all about creativity now, actually. You make sure you select the layer mask you want to actually brush before you pick the brush tool. Don't actually pick the brush tool and you haven't selected the layer mask you want to brush out, like this. To reduce the brush size, you can use the angle bracket keys to reduce it, and then you can zoom in. For example, here you need to brush this one. You brush very smoothly without destroying any image. Reduce the bracket size, then in the brush size like this, and actually you can brush. You can reduce even to small one like that. And that is actually brushing, right? And then you can control minus a little bit to zoom out like that, something like that. And then let's bring now the content. You can enlarge this image a little bit, and then I can actually check here a little bit, and then what I will need to do, I'll bring in the content. I'll go to my Word. I have here content. I will bring in the title now. It is called Just Join Us for Powerful Revival. I'll Control C to copy it, and then come back to Illustrator, and then I will actually copy this text. I will hold Add. You need to know how to use Photoshop, not Illustrator. I have mistake there. And like that, you copy the text, hold Add, double click inside the text, and then Control V to paste, and then Control All to select all text in that text box, and then you can change the font. I want to change the font to Playfair Display Font. Playfair Display Font, and then I will actually use bold. I use bold, and I will increase the size. I want to be big since this is the headline. I want to be like, how about 60? It's so big. Let me reduce the size a little bit. Let me put at 40. Double click inside, and then backspace enter to a new line like that. Control all to select all text, and then I can actually change the color. I'll go to my swatches, and I will use the yellow color. You hover here to see which color is this. This one is yellow. Pick it like that. That's the way you get to pick colors in Adobe Illustrator. And then you can enlarge the size till your wireframes, somewhere like that. This is actually Photoshop. It's the best software for photo manipulation, right? It is the best software for designing picture-based designs. This is actually Photoshop. Now, let me give you a secret. Since you can see this text, it is not actually looking good. It is actually affected by the background. The background is actually affecting this text. What should we do to actually make this text readable from a distance and actually being able to read without struggling with our eyes? I'll pick the rectangle tool. Here, this is the rectangle. And then I'll draw just a good rectangle on top of this text like this till the end. Alright? After drawing that rectangle, I'll change the color. I'll go to my swatches. I love to work with the swatches, and then I'll pick that color like that. And then I'll go to my layers. I'll actually reduce the opacity of this rectangle, or reduce it to like somehow 50. There, 50. Let me reduce to 50. What is happening? You hover around to 50 like that, and then other layers, I will actually bring this type down, this rectangle down, layer management. I'll bring it down like that. You see now that text, it is actually standing out, right? Now what I will do, I'll reduce again the opacity of this rectangle. I'll reduce it to actually something like, let me go down a little bit to like 35. I want it to be somehow down. That one is actually 29, and you see it is actually somehow good. And then what I will do, I will actually pick the move tool, right? And then I will actually push this text new life community on top a little bit till the wireframe, right, to give me the room. And then I will increase this rectangle size a little bit. Control Z. I have selected the text, not the rectangle. You select the rectangle. This one is the rectangle. Then enlarge the size a little bit, somewhere there. Now, and then check. Use the check mark. You see that rectangle? It's actually affecting. You see it. It is somehow drawn there. Now, how can we get rid of it? We use layer mask. We select the rectangle, and then we create a layer mask, and then we brush it again. Brushing in Photoshop. You need to know how to brush. You create a layer mask, and then you brush. Increase the brush size by clicking the angle size on your keyboard brackets. Then you can reduce it, and then zoom in a little bit for you to see very accurate. To move around, hold the space bar, and then you can actually get to brush, so that it should not look like we drawn a rectangle there. All right, it should not look like. We just want to make this text stand out alone. All right, that is actually the purpose of creating layer masks. All right, to make this text stand out without people recognizing that this was a rectangle. But that is actually designing, right? This is actually designing, and then you get rid of this one very slowly, smoothly. Just brush it, brush it, brush it, brush it. You brush. Know how to use layer mask in Photoshop. If you don't know how to use it, know how to actually use layer masks. You see the way the text now it is standing out, very very good. Then you can brush here, brushing to make the text stand out. Let me zoom out, Control 0. Can you recognize that it was a rectangle there? You can't, since actually you have actually made it to stand out like that. Let me take my move tool, like that, and that's the way you create that rectangle, and you make a layer mask on it. Now I will need to bring another content on the text, on the actual design. I'll bring in the call to action, but let's move on to. I'll bring in now the date, or the date of the event. I'll come to Photoshop again, and then I'll bring in the date where how the event will happen. All right. Now I'll activate the text tool by typing T in my keyboard to activate the text tool, and then you come to a canvas, then click to actually paste premier text, then Control V to paste inside your artboard or your canvas, and then Control All. Select the text you have pasted, and then you can change the font. I change the font to actually Lato. I'll use regular. This is now the date. I'll use regular. Lato regular, and then I will actually check here, and then use the move tool to select the text, and then I'll move it on the canvas to see it very well. Then I'll say Sunday, August 23rd. Let me come inside the text, and then I will actually backspace a little bit, and I want it to be 2 lines, to be 2 lines, and then I will go to my move tool, and then select the text, and then I will bring it somewhere here. I will select this image. I will reduce it a little bit in order for us to put content, design content. Then I'll push it a little bit on top. This is actually Photoshop on res, and then I'll check it. It is actually the date, and then I will actually bring it here. Want it. Let me reduce the size till it fits. I don't want to be big. It's supposed to be inside our wireframes. Right. Then I'll check it here. Then double click inside to select all. Then I will actually change the color to white. I want it to stand out. I'll go back to my swatches, white color, to know how to change the white color like that. And it does not look good. I will actually, let me see yellow. I want actually to use the same color for consistency. I use yellow. It seems it is not doing well. Now we'll actually reduce the opacity. All right, opacity. Let me go back to my layers. This is when you need to know how to manage layers. I'll go to my background layer. It seems to have a lot of light, and then I will actually reduce it, or I will blur it a little bit. Let me go to view, to filter, and then I will go to Gaussian blur, right? I will reduce this blurriness a little bit, and then I'll hit OK. I want it to blur a little bit. That arrow, that cross sign, it have been blurred a little bit, for us to see our text. Now let me go to my date, and then I'll change the color to actually white, something like that, and then I'll bring it down here where it's supposed to be seen, somewhere there. Then this picture I will enlarge it. I want people to see the Pastor John. Check it a little bit, like that. That is actually design. Let me hit the plus sign. Then I will copy this text a little bit, add to copy, and then click and drag. Then I will bring it here. Double click inside. Then we change the text, include the text of the pastor, the name of the pastor. It is called guest speaker. It's actually Pastor John Smith. Copy this text, Control C to copy. Then go to Photoshop, Control V to paste, and then Control All. Let me push this text to a new line. Pastor, the name of the pastor. Then Control All to check the text. Let it be. It is good, and then you can actually click here. All right. Something like that, and then let me bring it to be on the same alignment, or on the same horizontal. Let it be there, then push it inside. I want it to be inside my wireframe drawn, like that. Now I will now bring the body text, the message they are actually showing up, explaining. This is actually the body text. Control C to copy, then go to Photoshop. You need to have, when designing, you need to get content from the client. You need to have content. Designing, you need to know how. You need to have content first. Control All, then Control V to paste. To paste the content. I will copy it. Control C to copy. Go to Photoshop. Control V to paste. And then backspace a little bit. And then select or move to bring this text on the center of the canvas. Make sure it fits on the center of the canvas. Experiencing uplifting worshiping, then Control All, select the text, Control All, Control deselect to deselect, then double click inside, then reduce the size of this text a little bit to something like, let me use 18. I need to reduce the size in order for me to actually make it good on the canvas here. Then Control Z, let me undo, and then Control All to select. This is like designing, my friend. And then let me reduce to 16. I want it to be small a little bit. Check it. Then actually bring it on the center of the canvas. Somewhere there. It is not seeing well. We'll actually adjust the blending mode. Let me see the blending mode that can actually make this text to stand out. I'll go to darken, not multiply, not screen, somehow, color dodge, linear dodge, lighter. Let me use screen. About here, screen. Also, all this is supposed to have a blending mode of screen for it to actually somehow stand out. Screen. Here we'll actually put the same rectangle that we are drawing. I will show you how I will do it again. That's how you make this thing stand out. I'll come here. I'll draw again the rectangle. I'll pick the rectangle tool. Right, this is a rectangle tool. It's all about creativity. Then I will draw a rectangle like that. After drawing, I will actually go to my swatches, and then I will actually pick this color, right? And then I will select the move tool, go to my layers, then bring this below the text, alright? This rectangle below the text, I want it to stand out. Do you see the way it stand out? And then this rectangle, I will reduce the opacity. I reduce to actually 25 opacity. 25, no, let me reduce it to 50. How about 50? Go to 50. Somehow there the text, all the text are actually readable. Do you see? All, even the background is actually seen. That's the way. And then I will make a clipping layer mask on this rectangle. I will come here and pick layer mask, and then I'll pick my brush tool, all right, to actually mask out, and then I will enlarge a little bit. I'll actually just brush here. I'll brush. Control Z a little bit. I have brush here very longly. I don't want that light to affect the text. Then that is actually how we get to design things, huh? You know, you need to know how to use layer mask. If you don't know, consider knowing it very, very properly. Or you have seen the way I do. That is the way. That is the way. That is the way. You get to make this text stand out from a distance using layer masks. Right? That is creativity. Now let me go back to bringing now a CTA. There's something called CTA, call to action. Call to action. Come back, and then I'll take this one is a call to action. What I'll do first, let me draw something, a rectangle here. I'll pick a rectangle, and then I'll draw here something like this from the end to the end. And then I will actually input a color. I'll go to my swatches, I'll input yellow color. You hover around to see the name of the color. I want the yellow. This is yellow. And then I'll go back, and then I will actually take the text tool, alright? Or you can type T in your keyboard, text tool is here, my horizontal text tool, and then type here on the canvas, and then I'll come to pick my CTA, come blessed, Control C to copy, then come back, and then Control V to paste, Control O to select all text, and actually I can change the color to something like black. Black, is it seen? And then I'll check, then I'll come here, backspace this one, then backspace also this one, then Control or to select all, then I'll go to Lato. I want to change the Lato to actually bond, alright, and then I'll take my move tool, and then select the text. I'll go to layers. I want to see which layer I have selected, this one, and then I'll bring it down on the center of this rectangle. I'll reduce this text box a little bit, it's somehow big. Control Z to undo, then double click inside. You see this text, it have a problem, but don't worry. What is happening? Don't worry about it. Control on. Then I will actually increase the size a little bit. The size of this text, something like 60. Let me see 60. This is so big. 48. Come blessed. Huh? That is somehow 48 is somehow the best. Then I'll select it. I'll check. I'll click the check mark here, or you can click end in your keyboard. Then I will actually bring it there. That is actually there. Call to action, or CTA. You can call it like that. Then I reduce this one a little bit. Control Z. Why? Hold shift. Don't get just one side. Hold shift. Don't click and drag alone. Then you can do something like that. Check marks. Come and blessed. Huh? Come and be blessed. Now, this text, it is actually in capital, and I want it to be in small. I will click it, and then I will go to properties panel, and then I will uncheck here, and uncheck the big letters. Huh? Also, this one is supposed to be small letters, not big letters. Now go to your layers. You need to select the layers you want to actually do that. Select the layer, then go to properties panel. You need to know how to manage these things. Huh? Then enlarge it a little bit. I want it to go till the margin, till my wireframe, Then I'll push it a little bit on the top, and then I'll check it now, and then I'll come here, and then I'll also increase the size, or double click inside, and then increase the size to somehow now 60. That's the correct measurement, I think. Or we can actually hover here to actually reduce it uniformly somewhere there. Then check it like that. Come and be blessed. That is actually CTA of this flyer. How was our time, everything, it is there. Now what I need to do will actually include the contacts details and will be done with actually the flyer. I will actually come select this text, Control C to select all, then I will come to Photoshop, then I will actually take the text tool, it's here, the horizontal type tool, then I'll type here at the bottom, and then Control V to paste the text, Control A to select the text, reduce the size to actually something like 24 in order for it to be small. Then I'll go back and I'll use Lato font. I'll actually select all text again. Select all text. Go to switches. Use white color. Check it here. Then go to your move tool. Alright, move tool. Then I'll click and drag this text on the center of the canvas. And then I'll zoom in a little bit. And then I will remove this icons here. Double click inside. Then backspace this one. Alright. Remove it. Then I'll remove this one also. It's all about creativity, and then you can check it here. And then I will actually select all text. I want to be lato, not bold. I want to be regular. I want it to be regular, not the bold one. Something like that. Something like that. Are you seeing how I get to actually bring this flyer in the real one? Come and be blessed to the city. Then this one are actually contact. How people can reach. They can contact. They can go to this website and they can actually find on this location 123 Fate Street, City Valley. That's actually the location. It will reduce the size to actually 18. This is actually a small text, supposed to be small. Something like that. Something like that. And now this one is ready to be submitted to a client, alright? Because we have actually designed something, alright? If you are watching this video till here, thank you. This is actually Alex, Digital Computer Camp. You can actually like the video if you have watched till here. You can go practice. I will provide the content that you can actually practice with. And thank you. And thank you a lot for keeping tuned with me here on my channel. This is actually Alex, Digital Computer Camp. Like the video and actually you can follow for more. And this is actually a flyer I have actually done and I can actually export. You can come to file, then go to your save. You can save the file and then I can save us. To save us, you save a copy in a different form. I will save it in my computer, saving a computer, for example. Then I will come back to, I will actually name it as tutorial. I will name it as church flyer. Church flyer design official, like that, design official. And then the naming doesn't matter. Then I can actually use PNG format. This is actually a very good file format. And then I can actually save them, and then I can save. That's the way I get to actually create this document. Let me open the saved file. You see it. That's the This is now the official file that you can submit to a client. You see the background, somehow like a cross on the background, a pastor, the name of the pastor guest, Pastor John Smith, and then Sunday guest. This is the way. And I can actually adjust some things here. For example, I can make this Pastor John Smith a little bit standard, but date standard. And then the name of the church, join us for a powerful revival, and all these things you can actually get to design. Thank you, and actually you can follow for more. So subscribe to our channel and actually like the video, put your comment on the comment section, and let's keep creating. This is actually Alex, Digital Computer Camp. Let's keep creating.